So first of all, a big thank you to Creative Business Network for inviting Xperience Plus to pitch at Xperience Technology Challenge. So as you can read, our massive transformative purpose is enabling people to experience unlimited realities. And for achieving this goal, we need to disrupt the existing entertainment market. Whoops, sorry. Oh, we are living, especially in this day, in a situation where people are prevented to live experiences due to different barriers and limitations. It could be personal, economical, physical, or time limitation. And obviously, we are living in a lockdown. And plus, the current level of remote experience are limited to 2 dimensions, audio and video. And most of the time, the user can only choose from a pre-designed and pre-recorded and pre-decided catalog. So the current status of media is characterized by device dependency, low interaction, and low immersion. We want to disrupt these 3 areas, starting from the 2 dimension and move to infinite dimension. Not only audio and video, but smell, taste, humidity, wind, temperature, touch, and more. And this is only the tip of the iceberg. We are hardware agnostic. That basically means that we doesn't care about your hardware. We can serve you what you can experience. And also means that we don't believe in hardware. We are preparing our startup to be a brain-computer interface, experience-based platform. And the best part of it, that's the solution we are presented is covering both real-time streaming to streaming video on demand. It could be used in AR, VR, mixed reality, and more. And it's super easy to integrate. So let's take a look at what we are offering. We are offering you a highly interactive and immersive experience. Imagine to walk in a remote forest area, for example, freely roaming around and feel the temperature of your skin, perform feeling your nose and your hands are caressing the leaf. This is exactly what you're offering today. Let's take a look at the target market. So we are targeting both streaming video on demand, VR, AR market, and the passion economy. We can offer not only experiences, but advertising, documentary, TV series, movies, and more. So how does it work? So basically, the framework or the protocol collects stimuli on one side, pack them into a MP4-like protocol, standard protocols for media, and stream them to the user. And the user side can be mobile, AR, VR, mixed reality, haptic devices, and as we say, brain-computer interfaces. And now, a small pause, a reflection. To just remove any doubt, this is not a futuristic solution. Internet of Senses is coming. Amazon is selling already VR masks for smells. Gamers use haptic suits, and online fashion and remote surgery are already experimenting touching through devices to improve performances. So let's move forward. What we have today. So we already delivered and tested our protocol and released our MVP for our X app. As you see, is able to connect Doers and Dreamer in real time, collecting, processing, and transmitting senses. The app is already available for mobile, and soon the streaming will be cross-platform. But now we are working on something new. We are targeting the streaming video on demand market. So we are now, exactly in this day, closing a deal with one of the top streaming video on demand platform to bring the 5 senses experience to the huge market. So finally, your favorite documentary, TV series, pre-recorded experience will have smell, taste, touch, and more. And the number of possible experiences is limited, from art to travel, from business to learning, from sports to music, and more. Museums, for example, we validated the idea with U versus Virus hackathon, and we won in the museum heritage site area. The solution can allow museum to reach a wider audience, and it will have a faster time to market and nearly zero upfront investment. Amusement Park, if you are in Barcelona, for example, you can experience a park in the Nordics, and you don't have need of having the devices. You can go to the ideal space and take it. Tourism. You can teleport yourself anywhere from your sofa, swim in the Caribbean Sea, eat Italian pizza in Naples, smell the Madeleine flower in France, touch the skin of a dolphin. And some technical data, so corporate data. The project is held by a company called Exol, founded last year in London, with a total share capital of £700,000. This is our team. Pedro, our community manager, is here with me. Valeria, our CFO. Giorgio, that is our AI and creative guru, and me. 35 seconds. Super. Competitive analysis. There are some platforms working on live streaming. Some other producers are trying to bring just 1 sense to the market, but we don't like to call them competitors. We prefer to think in terms of ecosystem. So on the right side, you have hardware producer. On the bottom side, dreamer, video creator, and streamer. Left side, B2B development. And on the top, our end user. We are putting a lot of energy to create and innovate a vibrant community and ecosystem. We envision that all the solution present can be.
Sorry, time is up. Fabricio, I have to interrupt you.
Yes, that's all.
But you might be able to continue when you are asked some questions. So the jury, the floor is yours.
Yeah, I'm gonna start with like a really boring question. So how about things like, how do you handle like rights and copyrights and stuff like that? If you send someone out to film something in a museum and stream that, or go to a concert and stream that, well, how do you handle, you know, intellectual rights for that in this setup?
So as the same way, let's say, if you're talking about streaming concert, for example, we are talking about working with agencies, not working with a single person. If you're talking about the app, we will use the same approach Google use with YouTube streamers and other kind of stuff.
So then I'm gonna.
No, you carry on. You carry on.
Okay. Then like I have a question about how do you recruit the doers? I understand, you know, the dreamers being the one who will be like accessing these experiences from remote location, but the doers, it sounds like they're the ones who are actually in place doing things with all these, you know, sensors attached. Who are they going to be? Are they envisioned to be like other people who just do this voluntarily, or will they be paid, or how does that work?
Okay, Jesper, maybe I can answer to that. I'm also part of the team and indeed responsible for that part.
Yes, I would be surprised if someone else would butt in and answer question.
Yes, so as it is shown on Fabricio's slide, which is right now, we envision a different kind of doers. So we have doers that can even be robots and drones. We have doers that can be companies. We have doers that can be influencers or normal people. I think your question goes directly to the normal people. So we indeed have different ways to build this community. So we have been working, and that's part of my daily task, to try to identify people with strong power to share their knowledge in the different areas, from, I don't know, cooking to arts. There are multiple platforms where they already share it. It can be Instagram, YouTube, Facebook, whatever. We are trying to talk to them directly and convince them that they could join us. And the way that we envision that they will be, and we have already validated because some of them are already part of the platform, is that they receive a percentage of the transitions that are being made. So they have a way to monetize their time, their passion. That's why we call it passion economy. And we also are onboarding community managers. There are people that really have the power and the linkage to these people, and they are doing our brand ambassador and recruiting doers to join the platform. So it's an ecosystem itself.
I've got a question, just very, very practical. Where do people do this in most of experiences? Do they sit at home? And if they sit at home, what sort of equipment, hardware do they need? If they don't sit at home, whereabouts are you actually taking them? Where, because these experiences, if you're looking at wind, if you're looking at all the different sensory experiences, it can be quite complex to recreate in people's homes. But where do people actually do it, and what do they need with them hardware-wise to be able to?
That's a very good question. First of all, if you remember, just 2 years ago, the Goldman Sachs project that everyone will have a VR devices at home, and it didn't happen. We have a problem, as you correctly identified, that the devices are still a scarcity thing. It will be abundance. It will be abundance soon, but so far it's scarcity. So let's say you want to feel everything and you don't have the devices. That's why you will see somewhere we have a VR facility as well connected. So I will make a very small example. In a couple of months, we will launch with Xperience on the streaming platform, and we will organize the event where we will invite people, obviously, if it's possible, to move to the nearest VR facility to test it. Because the VR world in general and the devices now is a huge problem, because one of the problems we have for experiences today, if you design an experience for the HTC full set, or if you design an experience for the Microsoft HoloLens, you can't pretend that your customer spent up to 2,500. And part of our, for example, ecosystem is people that's renting for just one day or for a couple of days the devices. So the good part of this ecosystem that Pedro described is the way we want to facilitate the transition to the Internet of Senses.
Mm-hmm. And if I can add to that as well, Jan, so on the short term, this is the solution. So if people don't have, they should go or rent the devices. But as we are talking about so many devices, and the long-term vision is to develop in parallel the brain-computer interface. So by having just one device that can aggregates everything, in the end is going to be much easier, because then people are not dependent of multiple devices, but really we centralize all in one, and it goes directly to the brain of the person. But this is the long-term vision, obviously.
Could you say, I don't know how we are on time, but is your business model based on subscription, ads, transactions? What's sort of the core of the business model?
So it depends, because if you're talking about the C2C market through the app, as you see, this is the business model. So basically, there's a stream of revenue that comes to Doers from Dreamers, and we will take a percentage. If you talk about the B2B, like for example, the streaming video on demand platform, or you have your VR solution and want to make it 5 senses, it will be a pay-per-use.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And we can also envision other revenue streams. So you just mentioned advertising, it's one revenue stream. By upselling devices, we have been talking to device producers and trying to get a commission in every sale that we can try to promote. And as well, everything that is related to data. Data is also money in these days. So I think what we are building here will create a very deep information about what users want to experience, what they dream, and some companies are interested in this kind of information as well.
And where do you stand right now? Do you have revenue currently?
At the moment, we are working for quite 1 year to the solution. So we don't have revenue. We are now focusing on producing and creating the ecosystem. We will start selling the business model you saw before, starting in 2 months. Once we will have also the streaming video on demand platform online. Now we are trying really to find the big, can I call it, multiplicator for the idea.
Mm-hmm. Thanks.
Thank you.
I think we have time for one last question, if there's any left. Otherwise, we can move on.
Okay, then I'll jump in and just ask a quick question. So, have you any considerations whether how the actual experience might be changed by cutting away all of the difficulties leading up to it? I think going to see, I don't know, climbing Mount Everest. That's the experience of being on the top of Mount Everest is like perhaps 85% the difficulties and journeys in getting there, and not just being at the top.
It's a very good point of view, but in our vision, we are thinking about democratizing the access to experiences. So let's say you don't have the money to go up to the Kilimanjaro, the Everest, or you don't have the time, or you don't have the physical abilities. So I understand what you say in terms of living the experience. That's totally true, but I prefer to have $1 per 1 billion user that will share the experience of you going up, than having your 1 billion to go there.
Okay. Thank you. I think that was the last question and the time is up. Thank you so much to Xperience Plus